This is my Dell XPS laptop computer. I purchased it in 2008. At the time, this was one of Dell's premier laptops. It came fully loaded with 4 gig of memory and a Nvidia GTX GE4 7950 graphics processor, which was the state-of-the-art graphics processor for laptops and desktops in that time, and it still is. Problem with them is that they generate a lot of heat, the graphics processor, and it has a heat sink attached to it. And there is a solution, like a paste, that goes in between the heat sink and the graphics processor. And what this does is transfers the heat from the graphics processor to the heat sink. Well, this salve-like solution, putty-like solution, dried up long ago, and what happened is it failed to do the job, and the graphics processor would overheat and just stop working. And consequently, I could only use this laptop with another monitor. And so I haven't been able to use the screen for about a year and a half now. I've tried to buy new ones, a new graphics processor, but they don't make them anymore. And the ones that are on the internet they use, they're around $300 to $400, and they're still prone to burning out themselves. So I've done a lot of checking on the internet, and I've kept reading where people were baking these, taking their graphics processor out of the laptop and baking it in the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes. And that somehow mysteriously cured the problems, and they were able to use their screens again. So since I couldn't buy a new graphics processor, and I didn't want to take a chance on buying a used, refurbished, fixed one at $250, I thought I have nothing to lose, so I might as well throw this puppy in the oven and see what happens. So that's where we're going with this. I'm going to take out this graphics processor, and I'm going to put it in the oven at 410 degrees. And I'm going to let it set overnight, and the next day, which is Sunday, put it in and see if I have anything. And here it comes out. You can see the heat sink, that copper looking wire that kind of wiggles up to the top there on each side of it. And there is the graphics processor board itself. And so the next step here is to disassemble this graphics processor from the heatsink and slip it into my oven. Now, fortunately, Judy's out of town for a couple of days, and I have the kitchen to myself, which means I can use the oven any way I want, even if it's to bake a graphics processor card instead of cookies. So that's what's going to come up next here. I'm just looking at it here, just making sure of the orientation of everything, so that when I put it back in, I know how it's going to go. So with the card out, I'm going to take the computer and put it aside, and I'm going to take this little puppy and take it inside and slip it in the oven. I've got the oven right now preheating. That's why I'm spending so much time doing this. And here again, you can see I've marked on it the left and the right and everything I can to make sure I can get it back in the correct way. Although for most of these components, they will only fit one way. Okay, there we are. We're in the cookie pan now. we're ready to do some cooking or baking. And I really didn't know at this particular time whether I'm just trashing my card or not. But I had nothing to lose since the screen didn't work anymore anyhow. So here we go. Passed out of my land into Judy's land.